there's one thing WWE loves more than pyrotechnics and betrayal, it's a good old post-WrestleMania grudge match. Welcome to Thursday Shenanigans with Chrissy, where the only backlash I fear is from bad booking. A brief little summary. What is backlash? Well, ladies and gentlemen, pop a squat,
Papa Squat, baby!
pull up a chair, and get cozy and comfy. Quickly, backlash. It took over from In Your House. All my older fans probably remember that. Younger fans probably not so much. And it was right after WrestleMania. The first pay-per-view back in the day, PLEs were called pay-per-views, and you had to spend $60+ to watch it. The first one came in 1999. First ever Backlash card was pretty stacked with some notable legends and great matches. To name a few, this match list consisted of The Brood, which consisted of Christian, Edge, and Gabriel. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's okay. We'll figure it out later. And the Ministry of Darkness. We also had Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart in a match against the New Age Outlaws for the tag team titles. We had Mankind, which is Mick Foley, and The Big Show in a boiler room match, which was pretty cool. And this pay-per-view ended with a great match from Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, which many of you know, anytime Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock get together, it's always going to be a banger. 100%. In 2000, this year brought us a six-way hardcore championship title match. That was a pretty great match. I like a good old one man against the world type of match type of situation. And a hardcore match is pretty fun to watch. Gets very gruesome, very in your face. And the Hardy Boys are one of my favorite tag teams, so you know it's a great match when Matt and Jeff Hardy are on the card. Also, Eddie Guerrero showed up dressed to the nines with China, his mamacita. The match was pretty good. Any match with Eddie is good, but just the interactions between Eddie and China were great. The Showster, which was Big Show, went against Kurt Angle in this year. It was a must-watch on the comedic side. Big Show came out, and he had a Hulk Hogan bald cap, hair, called himself the Showster. Hilarious. And you're going against Kurt Angle, which, by the way, the dude won a gold medal with a broken frickin' neck. Overall, a pretty great match. And moving onward, Devon Dudley takes Trish Stratus and throws her through a table. Anybody who watched in the 90s, Trish Stratus was a bombshell, but also badass in the ring. Watching her get thrown through a table was legendary, and it looked like it hurt. Never been thrown through a table before, but I can only assume that it hurts to get thrown through a table by Devon Dudley, or any of the Dudleys. You know? And God, what else? There was an Intercontinental title match against the two Chris's, Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. Like we've said on the Chair to Face Wrestling podcast, both Chris's are phenomenal in the ring. Chris Benoit was very technical in the ring, very just hard on it. Chris Jericho is just always great to watch in the ring. He too is a really good technical wrestler. And with the final match, of course, The Rock and Triple H, plus Stone Cold Steve Austin came back. So that continues that feud between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, which I feel like that ran most of the 90s. Tell me I'm wrong, or tell me I'm not wrong. Your choice. In 2001 to 2003, this is known as the Hardcore Attitude Era, where Everything was bloody. Everything involved a steel chair to the face. Everything involved a ladder, a table, barbed wire, you name it, the match involved it. Call me a bias, but I thought this time in wrestling was a pretty cool time in wrestling. And man, oh man, was this era hardcore. You had a match between Shane and the Big Show. Shane McMahon, of course, is always surprising in the ring, always jumping off of things. I cannot tell you how many times as a kid my jaw dropped watching this man jump from high on up down or getting thrown through glass. King of the Ring, by the way, great match. Haven't watched it? Should watch it. But Shane jumped off the top of a Titantron onto Big Show, and the match was excellent to watch. 2003, Goldberg debuted. He went against The Rock that year at Backlash. So 2001 to 2003 Backlash, not too bad. 2004 to 2007, honestly, again, not another bad year in wrestling. The 2000s in wrestling were a wild time, not as wild as the Attitude Era, but you're getting into the Ruthless Aggression era. And 2004 to 2007 just was a great time to be alive in wrestling. Chris Benoit's reign, so this was such a great match between Triple H, Chris Benoit, and Shawn Michaels in the 2004 Backlash. Chris Benoit did win that match that year. It was a very back and forth match. You have the best of the best in wrestling at the time in the squared circle together. Pure magic. And John Cena's big triple threat match against Triple H and Edge for the world title. And yes, it was the spinner title. You know, the little spinner belt that we make fun of a lot. John Cena calls us out on it every week that we hated his spinner title. Tell you the truth, it's kind of stupid, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not WWE creative, and I'm not a belt specialist. I do not make the belts. I just think that they're cool. Oh man, 2006 was that match. Fatal Four-Way in 2007. And then in 2009, Backlash kinda took a hiatus. This is the last year we would see a Backlash. Randy Orton did lead in wins, the WWE title. He won the WWE title. I don't know why I'm repeating myself anyway. Go watch it. It's a great match. So, my favorite matches from this era is definitely Big Show versus Kurt Angle. I have always enjoyed Kurt Angle. The man, again, won a gold medal with a broken frickin' neck. Well, came back from the broken frickin' neck, won a gold medal, went into wrestling, dominated in wrestling. An angle lock definitely hurts. So, anyway, I also thought the triple threat match between Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit was a pretty good match. I did go back and watch a little bit of it. It is hard to find these things. I could be wrong, but I had a hard time finding some of these matches. So, don't come at me. It was a great match. The match with John Cena, Edge, and Triple H, of course, is one of my personal favorites because Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers, always has been. And Triple H, again, one of my favorite wrestlers, and John Cena. Anytime these guys are in a ring, it's giving them a mop and they win. Just great in the ring. Complete and utter, just absolutely fabulous. Um, does Backlash feel like a WrestleMania? Well, it's not in comparison to WrestleMania, and of course, My co-host Chris and I talked about WrestleMania a lot in previous podcast episodes, and nothing is in comparison to WrestleMania. But with Backlash, I feel that it truly bounces off from WrestleMania, in my opinion. And we see these storylines, they usually mesh together and they continue into Backlash for the most part. I do enjoy this being right after WrestleMania. I feel like it kicks us off into the summer, kicks us off into the next storylines, and the few years that Backlash was going on from 1999 to 2009, great overall. I'm not a bias. I'm just sharing my opinion. I think all those years had some great match cards and had some great storylines that carried over from WrestleMania. So, next up, since we stopped in 2009, Backlash came back in 2016. And this was about when wrestling lost me, was the 2016 to 2020 years. That's when I stopped watching wrestling. Don't ask me why. A lot of it had to do with the storylines being bland, but it did not get my attention. So briefly, going over this, 2016 came back to the Backlash PLE, pay-per-view, so to speak. It was an all SmackDown pay-per-view. You have Raw and SmackDown. They are they're split brands. They have a draft. Sometimes they don't do these things. And you see your Raw guys and your Raw girls over in SmackDown, and you see your SmackDown Raw, SmackDown men and SmackDown women over on the Raw roster. So they just kind of intertwine and they mesh together. And this was the year that we saw just a SmackDown pay-per-view. Back in my day, you had different pay-per-views that were your Raw pay-per-views and your SmackDown pay-per-views, and then you had them mashed together. To be honest, I don't see that much these days. Could be wrong, could be highly oblivious to it and just not paying attention. But who knows? I'll pay attention to it later. Maybe this week I'll pay attention to it and see what's on the card more, SmackDown or Raw. Anyway, continuing onward. In this, we had a women's match for the first women's SmackDown title. Of course, Becky Lynch won that. And AJ Styles won a WWE title. AJ Styles, again, my co-host and I go through this a lot. There's a lot of appreciation for AJ Styles from us, and I'm sure from other wrestling fans, or I hope from other wrestling fans. AJ's great in the ring. He is the phenomenal one for a reason. His ability to maneuver around the ring is just pure magic, and it's great to watch. I did not watch the 2016 Backlash. Like I stated, I stopped watching wrestling at about that time. Moving onward, and I'm probably missing things, and that's okay too. Moving onward, Jinder Mahal shocked all of us by winning a WWE championship. I remember Jinder Mahal just briefly in wrestling. It was very quick and gone, but I do remember him being kind of brutal in the ring. Very big, dominant man. So, in 2018, like I said, you finally get your first dual branded pay-per-view, now known as a PLE, Premium Live Event, since the return of Backlash in 2016. So now in 2018, your brands are back together. Yay! Go co-brands. Love to see it. And then 2020, the year that the world shut down. And I think a lot of us remember 2020. As the year that ruined all of our hopes and our dreams, ruined my 25th birthday, canceled my Kiss concert that year, but we got through it. 2020 in wrestling, honestly, was a great time to watch. I need to go back and watch the 2020 era of wrestling. I've seen snippets of it here and there. I've seen videos here and there. And to be honest, I need to get back to watching the 2020 um, wrestling events. That's about the time actually I started watching wrestling again, was right after COVID, so makes sense. 2020 era Backlash was with Edge versus Orton in the greatest wrestling match ever. And I missed that pay-per-view, but I'm sure it was a great match. So, did the brand split hurt Backlash in the long run? Did it hurt its prestige? 50-50. And this is just my opinion. I think it's great to have brands together for premium live events from time to time, but I also found watching them where you had a Raw and you had a SmackDown pay-per-view event, I thought it was pretty cool either way. Again, when you're a kid, you don't pay attention to things. You're oblivious to a lot of things around you. To me, it didn't matter because I was still watching wrestling. But it seems to be working pretty well now. We're having a backlash on Saturday, so. And was the Edge and Orton match actually that great? Drop it in the comments. What do you think? I'm sure it was a great match. I'll have to go back and watch that. Anyway, moving onward in this wrestling journey, as I always say, the after COVID backlash era. So we're out of COVID now. It's 2021. They changed the name to WrestleMania Backlash for some reason. I don't know why. I did do some digging, couldn't really find too much, but it was short-lived. 2022 brought around the Bloodline. Uh, they really began to truly dominate in this era of wrestling. Not saying that they didn't dominate before, but this is when, you know, business started picking up. Now, 2023's Backlash, I did watch that one. High five, Chrissy. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. That was a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed that match. I thought it was a slobber knocker between the two. And Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in the main event. I thought that was a great match too. Cody Rhodes back and forth with Brock Lesnar was good. It was golden. So the international crowd's energy, I absolutely love watching PLEs where they are overseas. I love the energy of the overseas crowds. Don't come at me. Do not come at me. But I'm sure I speak for every wrestling fan when I say this. There are times where those events in the United States here seem so boring because the crowds are not engaging. They're sitting like this. Wow. What? That's not fun. Come on, I want to be in a crowd where everybody's having fun. Everybody's yelling, everyone's screaming, everyone's excited, everyone's engaged. They're not like this. Wow. Or like FaceTiming somebody while they're doing the wrestling. I've seen that before. I was at a SmackDown once and I saw someone FaceTiming their friend while they're at the SmackDown event. Don't think I didn't see you. This is not cool, okay? Anyway, that's done and over with. But international crowds are great. They bring great energy. I love to see it. It gets me pumped up, gets me excited. Do I think the WWE should keep going overseas with events? Absolutely, I do. Everything is a business deal. Everything is money. Everything is growing the WWE into other places. I think going overseas is a great business investment for the World Wrestling Entertainment. And honestly, we see where WWE is as a company now. I do enjoy watching the Crown Jewel events. I think that's one of my favorite things that I like to watch. I love that they go to Saudi Arabia. They're phenomenal. The crowds there are great. Anytime they do a crowd in Australia, I can't speak and it's fine. Great matches in Australia, great crowds in Australia. Oh, another one. I know they're going to Perth. I think they're on the books to go to Perth. That's going to be great. And plus, we get to watch it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Who doesn't not want to watch wrestling at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and go to bed early? See? Smart business deals, smart business thinking. And the celebrity match trend, I think that these, again, business is business. Money is money. Companies grow. And there's reasons that companies do the things that they do. Watching a celebrity match, not too shabby, not too bad. There's been some great celebrity matches in WWE, for example, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, like I just mentioned. That was an amazing match. Logan Paul, still, ew. We all know how I know how I feel about Logan Paul, just deep down in my heart. I just don't. Absolutely not. Again, come at me, don't come at me, whatever. I don't really like Logan Paul, but to name a few. Yeah, Mr. T. Team up with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. Fantastic. You had Robert Downey Jr.'s dad come out. That thought that was pretty cool. Anytime Snoop Dogg comes to the ring, you know it's going to be great. So the celebrities are here for our entertainment too. Why not? So, my final thoughts, wrapping up this quick little mini episode, and I hope you've watched long enough. My top three Backlash matches: Big Show, Kurt Angle, triple threat matches of Edge, Triple H, Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels. No, backtrack that. Triple H, Edge, John Cena. The other one was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit. Should Backlash continue as WrestleMania's Aftermath show? Hell yes. Continue these storylines. Give us some more bad blood carrying on into SummerSlam and into the summer and into the rest of the year for wrestling because it's just heating up. And as JR used to say, business is about to pick up. So why not? Keep it simple. So, if you've ever yelled at your television screen during a jaw-dropping backlash moment, hit the subscribe button and tell me your favorite backlash moments. I promise I won't hit you with a chair this time. I'm Chrissy. This is Thursday Shenanigans, and see you soon. Bye, everybody.